Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 5 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm revealing a new Christmas craft project every day for 20 days. Today's project is a little bit different to what you might be expecting for Christmas, and it is this surfing Santa. I had so many requests to do a layered design that would be suitable for countries where your Christmas is in the middle of summer, and this is what we came up with. This Santa is having a whale of a time surfing along a big wave, and then you've got the sunshine in the background, and there are loads and loads of layers to this design. Before we jump into how to put it together, you'll need to download the layered file, so let's see how to do that. First, you need to download the cutting file to make this project. If you aren't already signed up to the Christmas Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021 to join. If you have already purchased the countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/login to log in to your account and access all of the Christmas Craft Countdown files. Once logged in, click into the Christmas Craft Countdown. Scroll down the page and all the files will become available on the date specified. The files do not expire, so you can download them at any time. The cutting files for this project are under the Day 5 heading. After downloading the cutting files, you'll need to unzip the folder that they come in. If you aren't sure how to do that, check the link in the description of this video, which contains instructions on how to unzip folders on Windows computers, Macs, and Android and iPhone devices. Once you've unzipped the folder, it's time to upload the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and create a new project, and then over on the left-hand side, click Upload. Then click into Upload Image, and then you can either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or you can drag and drop it in. There are several different file formats included in the folder. For Cricut Design Space, you must upload the file which starts SVG in the file name. If you try and upload any of the others, they won't work properly. So be really sure to choose the one which starts SVG. So I'm going to click and drag that in, and then it will show you a preview. And what you're looking for is how you can see it on my screen now, with all of the layers on top of each other in the correct position. If yours looks different and you can see all of the layers completely separate on the screen instead of on top of each other, that means you've uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, go down to the bottom right and click the cancel button, and then try again and make sure you upload the one which starts SVG. But this is looking good, so I'm going to go ahead and click upload on the bottom right. And now that will appear in my recent uploads, so I can click it and then press Add to Canvas, and here it is. So you can see all of the layers down on the right hand side. This is everything that we'll cut out, and then all we need to do is to resize this. I have a separate video on how to measure your shadow box frames so that you can perfectly size your layered design, including my top trick for making sure you never waste your cardstock. Follow the link in the description of this video to check out that one if you'd like a little helping hand on how to resize your layered designs. But for now, I've already measured mine, so I'm just going to change this to 7.5 in the width. Make sure the padlock icon is closed, and then press Enter on my keyboard. And you see the height changed as well in proportion. When you're happy with the size, click Make It on the top right. And then this will split everything out into each individual colour. By default, Cricut sets everything to 12 by 12 cardstock. If you want to change that, go over to the left hand side and go into the drop down and change it. So I'm going to use A4 paper. If you want to, you can drag and drop the shapes to rearrange them to use up less space on your card. So for example, I could move some of these shapes inside here, and then that means I will use up a little bit less of that card. Make sure none of the pieces are overlapping, otherwise they won't cut out properly. You need to change the paper size for every single colour that you want to change it for. So if I change this one to A4, there we go. Once you're happy with how everything is looking, click continue on the bottom right and then follow the on-screen instructions to cut everything out from cardstock using your Cricut machine. Here is my surfing Santa all cut out, and I've just gently placed the layers one on top of the other so that I can make sure I'm happy with all the colours, and I am, so it's ready to stick together. Let's just move some of these out of the way. And then get the bottom two layers, which are going to go together first, which is the solid pale yellow and then the bright yellow on top. For this project, I'm going to be using a combination of foam pads. These are the ones I use, Dot and Dab, but any foam pads will be fine. And I'm also using Collall glue, which I like because it doesn't bend or warp the card like some glues can do. But you know, any kind of glue that you can use on cardstock will work great. And then I put that into a little needle tip bottle with a tiny little nozzle on, so it just makes it a bit easier. And the links to all of these products are in the description of this video. So let's crack on, and I'm going to turn this bright yellow one upside down and add some foam pads. I've cut my foam pads with a pair of scissors, so they're a little bit smaller, which just means they'll go a bit further. Don't have to use quite as many, which is always a positive thing. We like to make our craft supplies last. And then what you want to make sure you do is that you've got a bit of foam in all of the sticky out places on the design. And as well as doing that, you want to make sure you've got some around the edges and some in the middle. And the middle bits are important because it gives it stability when we add the extra layers on top. So if you only put your foam around the edge and nothing in the middle, you'd probably find that the cardstock starts to sag and dip down and dome under the weight of the other layers of card when you stick it on. And we don't want that to happen, which is why we've put the foam pads in the middle of the big areas of card as well as around the edge. So what I'm doing now is I'm just peeling off the tops of the foam pad to reveal all of the sticky underneath. I think that's all of them. So now I can bring my base layer in and then I'll stick this on top. So I'm going to use these little bits as my guide and also the edge of the sun. And to start with, I'm just going to gently place it down to check I'm happy with that positioning. Now, because I haven't really stuck this, I've just dropped it on top. It means if I did need to pick it up again to move it about, I could do that without damaging anything. But I'm happy with this, so I'm just going to press it down. Okay, the next thing to add is the details on the sun. So this one's going to be glued. So I've turned it upside down and then I've got my glue and I'm just going to add that to the back. You want a good amount because this has got to carry the weight of all of the other layers of cardstock that we're about to put on. So we want to make sure it's really stuck down well. There we go. Turn it around and then stick it on top. Okay, the sun is done. Let's move on to the waves. The next layer is this solid blue one, which is going to go here. I'm going to use glue for this layer. And that's because there are quite a lot of layers in this design. So I don't want it to get so thick that it won't fit into a shadow box. So added my glue onto that. And then stick it on. And then I can get the next layer. So I'm just going to move some of these apart. Ooh. The next layer is this red one, and I've already stuck the little edge to Santa's jumper and also the black piece for his foot and the white piece that goes above the foot. So all of those 3 bits have been glued, and I just glued them on when I was cutting it all out because I didn't want to lose the teeny tiny pieces. So this one I'm going to put on with some foam. So let's turn it upside down and add the foam. Right, let's bring that back and stick this on top there. And then get the next layer, which is this one. So this layer creates the front of Santa. It's his kind of as he's turning towards the surfboard. But for this one, I am going to just glue it. So add some glue on the back here. You'll still be able to see that definition just because of the 2 different layers of cardstock, even though it doesn't have the foam in the middle. And just like before, I should have mentioned, I have already stuck the 2 little white bits, one on his arm and one on his leg. So that one goes there. And now we can add the wave on top. So this will be glued as well. And you see it covers up all of that red on the wave, and then we can see the light blue through the gaps. You want to be quite careful with this one that you do line it up well against the edges, because you don't want that red showing through on the wave, just the blue. And now we can start with all of these other details. So we have the surfboard, and I've glued the yellow piece to the edge already, again, just because I didn't want to lose it. So it's up to you on this one if you want to add foam or if you want to glue it. If you add foam, it will pop out more than the wave, which might look a little bit strange because the wave kind of goes down the bottom. So I think I'll use glue. And then I can push it up against that wave to know where to line it up. And I did bend the card on this a little bit when I stuck the yellow on, so I might just need to hold it to let the glue take. Right, let's have a little look at our Santa Claus. So these are all the layers we have, and I've already stuck the hat together, so you see it's got a white bauble on the end and then the fluff along the middle. And then for the face, I've already stuck this. You've got a black piece, which is the sunglasses, and then on top of that you stick the pink nose, and then finally the little moustache. We'll do the face of Santa first, which is this solid piece. And this is going to be done with foam. Line this up. There. And then I'll add his belt next, which is this little black piece. And I'm going to glue this bit on. I'm not sure that's the right way around. I don't actually have the picture in front of me. It might be that way around. So actually that looks better. I'll do it that way around. But just refer back to the assembly guide PDF that you got with the download to double check what way around that should go. I think it's that way, but it might not be. It looked good both ways, so we'll go with that. The next one to add is the white part for his beard, and this one we will glue. Some glue on here, make sure you get the little bauble. Put that on there. Next I'm going to add the wave, and this is going to be done with foam, but it needs to sit over the hat part that's already there. So don't add any foam in the hat piece, otherwise it won't be stable and level because the hat is already layered up. So you just want to add the foam to the rest of it and just put some glue where the hat will go. So I'll show you how to do that. Foam's going in the wave. And I'm going to cut some really thin so that I can get into these narrow pieces. So just a pair of scissors and cut down that foam. Be careful that your foam doesn't go over the edge of any of the card, otherwise you'll see it when you turn it over. We don't want that. It is worth taking the time to add these little pieces, as it will make it much more stable when we stick it on. And if you didn't put any foam in this big bottom bit, it won't stand out from the last layer. It will just kind of sag downwards. So that's why we need that. Now peel off the paper tops. One more. And then where the hat is on my Santa already, because this is going to cover it up, you see we've got the hat shape. I'm just going to put some glue on there. And then turn this over, line up the hat. Get the rest of that wave in place. There we go. So now it's all perfectly flat because we've used that combination of glue and foam. Next I'm going to add the hat, and as I said, I've already put the little extra details on there with some glue. So I just need one piece of foam on the back of this hat, that'll be enough. And I can stick that on. There we go. I think Santa's doing very well to have kept his hat on whilst he's surfing and not had it fall in the sea. And then we have the face. And again, I'll pop that out. I need quite a narrow bit of foam. I wonder if that's small enough. Yeah, it is. Okay. So that's going to line up there. And there we go, our lovely surfing Santa layered design is all finished and ready to go in the frame. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to put together my surfing Santa layered design. Don't forget to get the file, go to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow for the next Christmas craft project. Bye!